All right. Welcome to Hill Country Hustlers podcast. I'm here, your host, Zachary Green, with some special guests, David and Jayden Hughes. And they're here for episode 2. So they're going to give us a look into their business and their professional life and hopefully teach us a couple things. So, Jayden, what do y'all do?
We sell real estate, half ranch, half residential, do everything from, $10 million development ranch all the way down to small lot, or we've had an A-frame house that was a tear down, but sell everything in between.
Nice.
He's been doing it since 2002.
2002. So when did you, or how did you start in the industry, and what kind of led you to that back then?
I'll try to give you a quick version of getting to the Hill Country. So in 1980 and 81, I came to Shriner. So I was here a year and a half at Shriner Junior College at the time. And my father and stepmother had purchased a ranch out in Ingram, 3 miles south in 76. So we'd go out there a little bit as I was attending school, but not very often. And I always loved it out here. We spent most of our time while I was in school there at the river. We were either at Flat Rock Dam or in Ingram at the dam.
Yeah.
And so that was that, an early introduction of just hunting occasionally out on the ranch and things like that, visiting when my folks came in. And then moving forward, I went to A&M, graduated there in 85, 88. I came running back to the Hill Country. I did not like the big city. I was in Dallas, built one of the runways at DFW and a lot of other big projects there in 2.5 years. I was part of as a civil engineer, but I just knew that wasn't my environment. So I got back here, started doing animal capture, caught thousands of animals, including ostrich, emus, rheas, and every other kind of hoof stock that we call common, and then the supers. And so did that for 8 years. And one of my clients told me that there was this thing called the World Wide Web. So I came over and he dialed in long distance, and I got to get on the internet, self-learn, no books. There just wasn't anything out there. This was in the very beginning. And then I met a local fellow, and we started the first dial-up provider here in the Hill Country. Kerrville Telephone was doing it at exactly the same time. Basically, they were simultaneous. His business is no longer here. It was called Hillco Net. And I decided that what I wanted to focus on was website development. So I tell you all this to say that the website development, I was creating websites for every real estate company in Kerrville and some outside of Kerrville. I was the only one that was doing it because I was the first one doing website development. So I'd go gather photos and handwritten descriptions and so forth, put all that on the internet. They'd call me, hey, this one's sold, take it off. Hey, I've got some more, another listing, come get it. So I'd circle around and come back and do it. Built a little business out of that. So that was up until I stopped fully in 2004. But in 2002, I got my license for real estate, and I decided that's what I really wanted to do because I could see these people in real estate having too much fun. And I didn't want to be behind that computer all the time doing the website development. And so that got a transition into real estate. I already had the knowledge of living on a ranch, wells, animals, trees, grasses, and so on. And it just seemed like a natural fit, and got off and running with that in 2002 or in 2004 when I really started working in it. And enjoyed it. And 2008 put me out of business, and that's a whole nother story. And I got back into it when we brought Jayden back his senior year to Ingram after we had been away for a few years in Houston.
Being a top producer, 2006 to can't live in 2008. Market changes that fast.
Yeah.
And I wasn't prepared. Yet the thing about real estate is you really got to think about those times when it goes down. That wasn't in my plans and any thoughts I had. So I was just living it day to day in that point. So now we realize what can happen in these cycles. And we've had some bad years these last few years, been very slow. And I'm still not sure where it's going to pick back up real well.
Yeah. So a good background of an entrepreneur yourself, David, and gone through a couple businesses. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how has the people in this community shaped your journey? You mentioned how you like the area and the trees, but what about the people?
The people are so varying, although most of the people that I've been exposed to have been, even from early on, they're people that I either met through my parents or out on my own, going to Chamber of Commerce events or whatever it was early on, church especially. We'd meet people and they'd come from Houston, a few from Dallas, a few from these other areas, but most of retired people out of Houston. And so you get to meet people that just across the board did different things. And almost all cases were very successful in doing something. And then as you get into real estate, you're meeting those folks continually. And then also you're meeting other folks who aren't as fortunate and where they've come from, and they need a lot of help. And that's one of the things that Jayden and I have really focused on is probate real estate to help the widows to get them through this difficult time. There's just so much happening with the probate side of them going through the whole process. So we've gone through certifications for it, understand what their journey is. You have to give them lots of time, but you just let them know that you're available when they need some help. And then we provide the resources that they need. That's most real estate agents, they have resources of contractors and so forth. And this is kind of a next level of that, even to the point of you give them resources of CPAs, maybe a specialized attorney or something too. But we have those resources. We work with them, and in time, if they're ready to sell, then we help them through that process. And if they don't, we've done what we feel like was the right thing to do. And because we believe in the Word of God, and the widows are some of those that he tells us directly to take care of.
Yes, sir.
That's the journey of the community. And of course, we've been involved in lots of things in the past. Less and less as I get older, I want to get involved in exterior things. And now that I'm a grandfather, I want to focus a little more on that too.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of where Jayden comes in. He'll start getting his hands in more areas. What's some ways that you've already seen your business evolved in the last 5 years or since you've been in?
I was doing contract work for Dad, getting my real estate license in Houston when we lived in Houston. And I started to see out in the field, started doing photography. Then I got my real estate license in high school. When I turned 18, I got my real estate license. Started working with him right after that. I really like working with people. I'm extroverted.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that part of it. And living on a ranch, I love seeing new properties. Some of the most beautiful places in Texas are right here in the hill country. So that's some of the parts I really enjoy about it. And we've evolved several times over. You have to change with the market, like any market. So we've gone from calling 3 hours a day. First couple of years, you have to grind really hard. And I would call different niches in real estate, like probate, expired, sell by owners, divorce, all of those niches. I would just sit 8 a.m., start calling, and I'd call 100 people, as many as I could. So we've gone from that. Now we've kind of solidified where our niche is, and that is helping people with probate, because we've been doing it for 3 years now, understand it really well. There's no one that we know of that's really specialized in that in this area. So we took it upon ourselves to do that, as well as the farm and ranch side, listing ranch work, that sort of thing.
And recently we joined the land and ranch part of our brokerage, EXP Realty, which is, it's off the chart as far as what we can do with it to go another whole nother level. And because we're very technical, I passed all my knowledge to Jayden. I've always been known as the techie kind of real estate guy, but he's picked up on it, and now he can build massive, incredible marketing that we do.
You can do a virtual tour from the sky. So from a drone, you can click on a little bubble, zoom to that. You can see the whole property from just a drone bird's eye view. That's one of the ways you can market these ranch properties. It's kind of like a virtual tour of the inside of a house, clicking on images, seeing the house without actually being there. So a lot of these ranch buyers, they're in Houston, New York, California, can't necessarily make a visit down just to see one property. So you have to give them an avenue to see it.
So drones are already pretty involved in your industry,
very
providing
involved.
virtual tours and stuff like that?
Not many people do the virtual tour part of it that we've seen, but almost every ranch listing needs a drone to get really the bird's eye view, the boundary, just a good idea of what the land is like. You can even get wildlife pictures from a drone, a lot easier than you can chasing one down.
So we're not going to see Jayden in a ghillie suit anymore, just
No.
flying the drone.
No, might do it for fun.
Maybe.
But I've been doing drone work since I was 16. Kind of been
Cool.
evolving with that, and now we do some YouTube videos, and it's kind of like a vlogger. The drone will follow you as you walk the property and talk about high fences, the
Mhm.
exotic deer you can keep in the high fences, and that sort of thing.
In the
Okay.
future, we'll get into things like ag exemptions, how you determine what the different types are and what you might want to consider. And when you're
Mhm.
looking for a property, so if you're working with an agent, these are the things you look for. And there's just so many variables out there, especially in the farm and ranch industry. With residential, it's a little more sort of narrow path, unless you're in the luxury industry, which we've recently sold a 7,000 square foot house, for example. And of course, we did all the special marketing and things for that. But when you get into those, you're dealing with a whole lot of. In one case, we had a 60,000 gallon water encatchment system. So that was something that you got to learn about and be able to speak on it, present it, and that sort of
Mhm.
thing. It's part of the property that adds that real value to it. So,
Yeah.
but it's exciting, a lot of fun. We enjoy it, building it out, but the personal relationships is the best part.
Mhm.
Get to know somebody really well when you're listing a property and when you're lugging them around in a vehicle. So, which is, it's good. You get to really form a relationship. Yeah.
And I'll say personally, I think having a advisor in real estate, kind of like the guy above you that you can look over and help out for free to get the knowledge, that'd be
Mhm.
very important. If I didn't have dad, I don't know if I'd be
Yeah.
doing it to this level. I would have to shadow someone,
Mhm.
under someone, which a lot of real estate agents do that. I think
Mhm.
that's a good way to get in the business, because it can be scary hearing all these things you have to do, all the money in marketing and
Yeah.
everything. Just to be at the top of your game, there's a lot.
Yeah. I think that applies quite a few industries too.
Yeah.
Having a good mentor can mean a world of difference.
It
That's
does.
awesome. You have your dad.
And we've signed up for a lot of mentor type programs to also funnel down to both of us so that we learn from those. And some of them we continually go back and keep updating what they're putting out. And some we've learned and we learned all we could, or really we want to focus on these 2 or 3. We continue to get mentorship from others out there too. So it's been really good. And we work as 2 agents in an office by ourselves. We don't have agents working for us. Not something that particularly want to do. Not really wanting to manage people. We want to get properties that we can help the seller and or the buyer and work directly with them and not spend our time managing people. And because it's just what we choose to do. But it's been fun learning from each other also.
Yeah. That's really good. That's cool. So that kind of leads me into where I was going to go next. If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice starting out, what would it be? I guess we'll go with Jayden first, then Mr. Hughes.
I'd say the piece of advice is continually every day grind and don't look back. Don't say there's nothing to do, so I'm not going to do anything. Just find something to do. And that can be hard working for yourself. You can just say, oh, I'm going to take the day off. We don't do that. And I think you can't do that. If you want to be one of the best, you have to go into the office every day, even though you don't have a boss that's giving you a time specifically to be at the office. I've struggled with that a little bit, being lackadaisical and don't stick to say, I'm going to start calling people at 8 a.m. and just keep showing up late. You're not going to get there. So I'd say just have that fire in your belly, get ready to do the same thing every day, but enjoy it at the same time.
Yeah.
It took me a while to learn that, but the more I do it, the more I like it and easier it becomes to do.
Got to fall in love with the process.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. You have any good pieces of advice that you haven't put? You've already spit a couple out. So
Something
I
as simple
appreciate
as a lot of people say work smarter, not harder. I'm saying work smarter and harder.
it. Yeah.
Just there's a way that you can work hard and still not get there. You've got to spend extra time, which what I personally do is when I usually leave the office about 3:30 or 4, and then I go home and I sit back and I get back on my laptop while I'm sitting back comfortably, and that's where I do my research. And so I'm looking for the next thing, because what I know about real estate, as much as I don't want it to be, it's changing constantly. And it's when I was doing website development for 8 years, it just got to be overwhelming because I learned the code and I did it all in the beginning, but as it got more advanced and dynamic instead of static, it was consuming a lot of extra time. And plus, I was going to have to hire people and so forth. And I didn't want to do that. So in this case, I go and I just continue to find out what can make things easier. And of course, the biggest thing now is AI that's making things a lot more efficient. For example, yesterday, for the first time, we put in the purchase agreement we were provided by a buyer's agent. And guess what? In what would have taken us about an hour to go and figure out put all the milestones in and summarize everything for our client, instead of going through a contract and seeing all that language, we got all that spit out in 30 seconds. And just like that, now we've got the paper we can hand them instead of that contract. Of course, we go through the contract with them at some point, but when we're just looking at offers on the surface, so things like that. So I'll spend time researching, okay, we're going to implement that tool. And we've got about 40 tools, those being apps and such that we utilize, whether on the phone or whether on the computer. Most agents are intimidated by it, and I understand, but it's just my background, and Jayden embraces it, so it works out good for us. And so we can produce a little more and more timely, and hopefully get a little break now and then too, to go and do some things away from the office. And then working as a team, that works great too, because I can take off and he covers and vice versa, and works out real well. So find a good partner too.
That's a good one.
Somebody that can have your back and you can share in the experience together, because it's just that's what it is. It's real estate business is an experience of working with people and enjoying life.
One thing we've learned from our mentors is how important time management is, because you can stick on the same topic, say writing up a contract. It normally would take 30 minutes to do that, but you'll find yourself taking 2-3 hours because you're not focused on it fully. And if you take a piece of paper and put time blocks on it, just write down what you're doing every 15 minutes, you'll see how much time you waste. That's a lot of time.
Okay.
Then over a course of a week, you'll see where you need to cut out time. Maybe you're going on your phone and spending 30 minutes doing nothing. It's not going to make you any money. You should probably stop doing that. And that helps. You don't do it every day, but once every quarter, you might just do a little time audit, they call it. Write down what you're doing. And we have a daily schedule from 8:30 to 4 of the same daily schedule. Leave the afternoon open for listing appointments. But in the morning, we do input data, and then right after that we call. And then right after he gets back from lunch, 1 o'clock ish, we do follow up, and then admin tasks, follow up tasks, and then after that it's listing appointments and all that. That kind of keeps your head on the straight path and keeps you from just going out and saying, I'm gonna go get a long lunch. Oh, I'm tired now, I'm gonna go home. But if you have a schedule you can actually stick to and follow, it helps keep you on track.
Nice. I love that. I'm going to have to give that a try. I probably got some dead time in my day. All right. I'm going to change up gears a little bit. Do y'all have any funny or interesting stories y'all could share with us?
Okay. So interesting to me is that there are so many beautiful properties here. And if you're just in the community and not, real estate gives us the ability to get out on those properties, and you start seeing these incredible properties, and and you meet incredible people. The properties out there just will blow you away, whether it's the animals they have on them that you just thought, wow, that's pretty interesting, or the features of the property and the water that's in it, and or the views. It's just all these different things about properties. Each one of them is very unique. They're not cookie cutter by any means. It's not the subdivision where they're all half acre, but those things are pretty amazing to be able to, that we're blessed to be able to see. That's the interesting, not a story per se, but an interesting thing that we get to do.
Awesome. I bet y'all have quite a few breathtaking views you've seen.
Yes, it's one of the best parts about the job. Another part is kind of a funny thing is just you're very closely related to therapists in this profession. You have a lot of times that you have to, especially in probate when it's very emotional.
Mhm.
You're just as much a therapist as you are a real estate agent, not in a bad sense,
Mhm.
but you have to understand the emotion they're going through, losing a loved one, and can't
Mhm.
go in there
I mean,
all
yeah,
all like a businessman. You want
Yeah.
to sell this house.
you have to have a sense of empathy
Yeah.
in your personality to be able to work with the people that are going through that.
Yes.
And I think we do.
A lot of the
Mhm.
times people sell properties, even if it's not an emotional thing going through probate or a divorce or anything like that, you're still selling or buying. But mostly we deal with listings. You're selling a property you've maybe lived in for 30 years and your kids grew up there. You just can't keep it up anymore. It's pretty emotional selling the only thing you've known for the last 30 years. So
Yeah.
kind of have to be on their level and offer your
Mhm.
condolences and say, is this really the right thing to do? And if it is, then you know it. But sometimes it maybe isn't the best thing to do.
Yeah.
You have to tell the difference.
Yeah. We never look at it as the commission part of it. We look at what we can do to get them close to that point where then if they're ready to sell. But, it's part of our mission, part of what we feel good to do as part of what God's given us to be able to do in the real estate business. Doesn't always pan out as far as selling the property, but most of the time it does. And that's good too. So
Yeah.
we put a lot more hours into properties than the normal agent would when you work in probate. I'm not saying it's the best thing to go make money with, but we're blessed with big ranch type properties that we get to sell. And but we feel much better about being able to do these probates along the way too, as God puts them in front of us. They're opportunities in life, and you learn.
Yes.
And they're really good people. I don't think we run into anybody yet that just we had to walk away from. It's always been a good experience.
Yeah.
Lessons learned. Yeah.
They're not
Mhm.
going to show up. You have to go find them. We've kind of honed down the input side of it, but still it's every day. You have 30 minutes to an hour of going on the courthouse website or wherever you're going and inputting data. It's not the
Mhm.
most fun thing, but then whenever you call them and they're super thankful that you called them because you're going to help them, kind of makes up for all that
Yeah.
that boring input that you have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really awesome. I didn't know y'all did that much probate stuff, so that's really good to
Yeah.
know. I didn't know y'all are making an impact out in the community, and I know y'all are better people than the average person, so it's good to
Thank
know
you.
y'all are out there taking care of people.
Thank you.
And I guess now I'd just like to open it up. If y'all have anything interesting to share coming up or any news, y'all feel free.
Yeah.
Got anything?
Interesting wise, let's see. I'd say the housing market interest rates have been around 7% for a while now, and they don't seem to be changing much. There's not a lot of action on $300,000 to $400,000 houses.
Yeah.
If you get under 200, there's a lot more buyers. But even going from 4% during COVID to 7% now, that's hundreds of dollars on top of
Mhm.
what you're normally can afford that now you can't afford it. So
Yeah.
the market's kind of been staying behind. But on the other hand, ranch work, they've been doing really good lately, whether
Nice.
that has to do with elections or just the general mood of people that are thinking the
Mm.
world's not going to end. We're not going to have another world war. So now we can actually buy our ranch that we've been dreaming about. So we've had a few good ranch listings coming up and have currently listed, and they're going well. And we enjoy that, getting some wildlife photography of those,
Nice.
the animals there. Showing those properties is amazing. That's one thing we really enjoy.
Awesome.
Dad's Aggie ring keeps.
Yeah. Sorry. Wrong
No
spot.
problem. All right, guys. Thank y'all for stopping by. It was awesome talking to you, and thank you for your advice and your tips. I think it's going to be useful for a lot of people. And y'all go out and check out EXP Realty. Even if you're not looking to buy or list anything, at least check out the photography. These guys are amazing. You'll see some amazing Kerr County photography. So
Yeah.
give them a look.
And we're with Broken Arrow Realty Group, which is brokered by EXP Realty. Yes.
So
Appreciate it, Zach.
give them a
Thank you.
look.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you
y'all.
for having us.